cavities. But I am a little bit concerned about the sand. It's probably a couple feet deep.
If you'll remember a few videos back, I left my riding buddy Tim back in the Route National Forest, and then I headed towards Dinosaur National Monument and spent the night there in a wonderful canyon, and then up into the Ashley National Forest and Flaming Gorge for a couple of nights of painful cold weather. It was beautiful up in the Ashley, just seemed like the weather was not really participating, at least in what I had in mind as far as adventure. But it was nice to get out of the desert, which was getting pretty warm, but it went from one extreme weather condition to another, and luckily I had enough time to spend in there without being too painful to enjoy not only the Ashley National Forest, but also Flaming Gorge, which I had bypassed several times on my last 3 trips around the region. Seemed like it was always something that was pushing me either north or south of Flaming Gorge. But this is down below the dam, and that's the Green River flowing beside you. And the dam is really impressive. I did not expect it to be that massive. And of course it had some nice little switchbacks that get you down to the river, and a beautiful dam that you could actually ride across. And didn't spend much time down here because it was so windy, and you can possibly see the white caps on the waves here. I would say 20-25 knot winds most of the time I was here on the water. At least you can see the white caps, which is really unusual for lake water. But unusual weather conditions added to the fact that this is a pretty deep valley, and just kind of added to the impressiveness of the area, but also made it a little bit frustrating. It's kind of hard to tell how hard the wind's blowing until the sand comes up and sprays you in the face. And all this sand out here has been spraying me in the face for the last 30 minutes while I'm stuck outside a grocery store / restaurant / resort called Dutch John Resort. They've been kind enough to give me some Wi-Fi while I battle my carrier for fixing my dead phone. It just has no network connection, so I'm chatting with them via the resort's Wi-Fi. Hopefully we get this resolved. That is quite a shoot right there, and this is quite a windstorm that has been here for most of the afternoon since I've been here anyway. It's quite an impressive dam, Flaming Gorge, and the Green River. I think there's lots of people floating this river today. It's Sunday, so it makes a lot of sense. But you can see traffic way up there going across the dam. I mean, I can imagine what would happen if that dam collapsed right now. I would be never found again. So after touring the gorge and enduring the wind, went back up into the Ashley to try to find some place to camp. And of course the wind was just as bad or worse up there. Wound up exploring this very interesting place called the Sweat Ranch. And apparently this is part of the Forest Service now, and everything except this vegetable garden, which apparently is maintained by civilians. But it was pretty cool walking around the ranch, even with 40-mile-an-hour winds. The Sweats were apparently early pioneers of this area and had a really cool ranch, and I wound up exploring for several reasons. I was looking for a place to camp, and I was considering some of their barns and facilities to pop a tent into, just because of the wind. I mean, it just it's kind of scary how much wind was out here, and you can see a little bit of the wind here. You can see these this drive belt that's just flopping in the wind, Yeah, I mean, it was kind of impressive having this much wind all day long, and just never seemed to stop. And sorry, I couldn't get most of the wind noise out of here. Just turned it down. But this is a pretty cool little sawmill that I found, made out of I guess a 32 Ford. But that is so awesome. Transmission and everything. Wow. That is cool. So, start it up, put the thing in gear, run through the gears, you got your operational sawmill. How about that? Well, I'm about to die in this freaking storm that's coming through, but at least I got to see the old Sweat homestead. So I'm guessing this looks like home. It's not the best camping spot I've ever found. Usually I like to get way off the road, but there's not really any off-roads. There's a trailhead down here. I'm not really sure. It looks pretty rough trying to get in there. But so far, this is the least amount of wind I have found anywhere around here. Quarter mile that way, it's quarter mile this way, it's just exactly what I just left at the Sweat Ranch. And anywhere out there is the same way. It's just, 40, 50 knot gusts of wind that are probably going to drop a tree on my head, much less a limb. So I'm thinking this is it for the night. I don't think anybody's going to give me a hard time for this. But if I take my bike off road, I might get in trouble. There's one little niche right around the corner, but I think this is going to be pretty cool, and I think there's probably more wind coming through there. This is at least a hill, a mound to stop most of the wind. So I'm thinking about going down here off the road. And then there's a creek. There's a creek 100 yards away. So I won't run out of water. So the essentials are here. Trees, wind blockage, most of it, 80-90%, and a creek. So what else have I got to look for? Except fucking internet! Visible. Man, I'm just whooped. I was gonna set the hammock up in between these trees right here because they're the closest to the bike without going on the upper side up here, and I don't want to do that because I'm more sheltered down here. But then I thought the guy at the resort said the lows are going to be in the 40s. So I figured, let's just go to the ground. There's a relatively, you can't see it here, but you can see this is kind of like a berm. But it's relatively flat up here. I'll be able to sleep on this. And I don't have to worry about trees shaking me all night. Just worry about the tent floating away with me inside it. Across here, 3 of them just kind of trotting. Actually, they were a little bit more in a hurry. And then they came down the hill. Well, before that, I rushed in there to get the camera because I thought, okay, I need a camera with a zoom lens. And I got my camcorder. And about the time I came out, I didn't even have the time to turn it on, but they just came running through here, about the fastest I've ever seen elk run. And they ran up there, and they chilled for a second. I thought I might be able to get them on camera, but nope. So, unless another small herd comes through, but that's why I got this camera out, because I thought, okay, I've got some range here. Might be able to see something. There's a good amount of field right out here, so maybe I can see something before the sun goes down. Maybe I'll see some more elk, because that was kind of cool. I don't camp around a lot of elk, typically, because the big populations of elk that I've seen have always been in the national forest. The one time I did camp around some elk what was that, 2016 Olympic. Camped out there, and I had all the elk to myself. I had this huge buck, huge rack. He looked like he was 400 pounds. Oh, was that elk? Was that elk bugling? Maybe I will get to see some more elk. Anyway, Olympic 2016. I'm camped out there. Campground was closed, but they didn't put the gate up, so I camped inside right next to a beautiful river. I think it was the Olympic River. Anyway, it was rainy and cold, and next thing you know, the sun's going down. Here comes the elk. They're just grazing through the campground. Don't give a fuck. I mean, they're like kind of like cows, you know. They wary of you, but you could walk right past them as long as you weren't making sudden movements. And I brought my dog, the dude. The dude really wanted to get up next to him and sniff them, but they were these are small horses, basically. I didn't want the dude anywhere near him, especially that big buck. Anyway, he was real curious. They were a little bit curious of the dude, so anyway. That's my one experience with the elk that was pretty amazing. And I got it on video, or most of it. As you can hear, the wind has died way down. It's just a calm little breeze now. You can see some in the tops of some of these trees. But that's where all the wind was all day anyway, in this spot. Apparently in the tops of the trees, because I had all this awesome hill cover. And just kind of missing my elk. I was hoping I might see some more elk before I go to bed. But the sun's gone, the moon's out. I'm not that much longer for the conscious world. Every minute I spend outside in the rain is going to be more wet. Well, let's take a peek outside the tent, see what we can see. Maybe there's some elk sitting out there waiting to be filmed. I'll tell you, if elk are going to be out, I would think this would be the time that they would want to be stomping around. I've seen a lot of wild animals while it was raining, because there's so much noise. They didn't hear me. They didn't hear me peeking around, so maybe we'll see more of them later on this evening. But that's what it looks like from inside the tent. Kind of wish you were in the tent on the other side. Somebody to bounce some ideas off, you know, somebody to say, hey, is this cool or what? No, it's cold. Well, anyway, you're here now, so that's really all that matters, right? Those black stumps in the distance make me think there's bears out there, because they do look like a lot like brown bear or black bears, in size anyway. Small black critters just kind of sitting there. I've decided it's too early to go to bed, so I'm going hunting over on this ridge, and this is the gun that I'm using. This is the gun that I will be shooting tonight. Hopefully I will see those awesome elk that I saw cutting across this ridge and then around this way. We'll see. See how good my stalking skills are. I've been sitting editing video today since it's so quiet. I got a little bit of a charge off my panels, but before 10 o'clock, the sun was covered by this blanket of clouds. So, but I did get pretty much finished up 2 videos almost completely, and I'm going to go into town. Dutch John is the town. It's really a resort area. It's a very small town. There may be 200 people that live there, but anyway, I decided to clean myself up since I'm going to be sitting in their little cafe. But I've got a trimmer. It's dirty as hell. I've got a trimmer. I'm going to clean myself up, but I don't have a mirror. I've got a mirror. I've got 2 mirrors on the bike, but they're completely unusable because they're down. I can't twist them around. I can't see my face. So I came up with something better. I don't know if you can see that. It's my camera. I just mounted it to the tree. So I think what I'm going to try to do is zoom in a little bit so I can see my face, kind of like a mirror. I've never done this before. I just think that I thought it was kind of interesting that I set it up. And I'm standing in cow patties because this is a cow track and they drop their crap all over the place. But anyway, here goes. Kind of works the same way as a mirror, just got a little bit of a lag. So I got to be careful. Well, I guess wasn't too careful. And just as I start cleaning myself up, here comes a car, the second car of the day, and the third car of the day. The first one came through early, and he hasn't come out. Man, I'm getting really hairy. I think I'm just going to leave my beard, but I want to clean my cheeks up because I don't want to look like I live out in the woods. Somebody might understand the truth about me if they knew I live in the woods. One of my subscribers is on his way from North Carolina. Last I checked, he should have departed Tennessee this morning, so he's traveling. I think he's doing about 500 miles a day. He's estimating 4 days to be here. He's going to hang out with me, hoping to meet back up with Tim at some point. But since I don't have phone service, he's kind of in and out of phone service too. So anyway, lots of exciting stuff coming. We'll see what happens. So it's Monday, 2 o'clock. Looks like it's 7 o'clock. It's been like this since 10 o'clock this morning. It's 63 degrees, which I find it's quite surprising because I think it was in the high 70s up here yesterday. Ashley National Forest, up above Dutch John and Flaming Gorge. I'm going into the Dutch John because it's the only place that welcomes me to sit down and plug in and surf their Wi-Fi. Since I have no internet, I have no phone service, I can't communicate with the folks that I'm trying to connect with out here. We'll see if I can get that resolved. Get some dinner. I think I'm so frustrated, I'm going to get a bottle of whiskey and come back here and get soused tonight. Main thing is see if I can connect with the people that are trying to connect with me, since I have no way to communicate other than internet. So let's go get some internet and some dinner and some whiskey. Woo! Living the dream, baby! Well, kinda. Little bit of a nightmare, too. was a much better evening that I spent tonight. Headed out from camp about 2 o'clock. Spent most of the afternoon editing video and catching up on work and emails and crap like that. And very comfortable in the resort, about 8 miles away. And I had a nice chat with a lovely lady who's also a nomad. Too bad she's stumbling around with her boyfriend, who's also was sniffing around while she was working. I thought that was pretty interesting. Anyway, it was a good evening, and it's not even 7 o'clock yet, but I've had my fill of food and beer, and it's raining, drizzly, cold. It's going to be another cold night, and then several nights of nice warm days, lots of sun. So I'm going to stick around, I think, a little bit. So I spent last night in the tent because it was so damn wet and cold, and this morning I had to come back into the tent. Got up and made me some hot tea to replace that freaking coffee that I bought that's gonna get pitched sometime today. Oh yeah, let me give them a plug for their crappy coffee. I've drank several cups of it and I've tried it. Apparently there's nothing out in the woods except Dunkin' Donuts crappy caramel. Oh god, this stuff makes me sick just to think of it. So I'm gonna pitch that. I had tea instead, which was wonderful. Earl Grey, thank you. But I had my tea set up, pulled out the laptop, do some editing. Yesterday morning it was nice and warm. Well, I'd say warm. It was in the mid 50s. But it was in the low 40s last night, and I got up and I thought, wow, it's really cold out here. And I endured it until the wind kicked up. And then the wind plus low 50s, high 40s, I was like, I can't take it. My hands are frozen. I can't move my fingers on the keyboard. So I was like, I'll just dump everything back in the tent, crawl back in. And it's fine in here. At least I'm blocked from the wind. It's still cold. But it's now 10:15 and it's still freaking cold. And the wind's picked up. And, yeah, I don't know. About halfway through on my battery, so I think I'm going to go plug it up to the solar panels. And, I don't know, put my boots on, maybe go for a hike, just put my gloves on. I don't mind being in the cold as long as I don't have bare skin, and that's the problem this morning. Anyway, interesting, I thought. So about to hit the road, leaving Ashley and Flaming Gorge, which is down the mountain. It's been windy since I've been here. I think it's kind of gotten to the point, well, hell, the wind's not blowing now. I've determined that the wind doesn't blow about 2 hours a day, and this is about 5-minute lull here. I'm in the best shelter that I could find for the wind, but it just sweeps up this valley, and it's cold. It doesn't warm up. It was supposed to warm up today. It's just now getting to maybe 75. So, and I'm tired of sleeping on the ground, and rather than throwing another hammock up and being uncomfortable with the wind blowing it all around, I just decided I'd move back south. I may go towards Salt Lake. I may go back towards Colorado. I don't know, depending on what the smoke's doing. But I need internet, and although it was fun, I think I'm done. So here we go, back south.